What you doing?
Hello there, and welcome to an all-new episode of Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and much, much more. I am your host, Josh Scar, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm living in dread as 1 hour will be sucked off of my life, and I pray it is not more, as we are within the pit of despair, and anything can happen with that water wheel.
Did you say sucked off?
I do not understand that reference.
Yes.
Is that a Ghosts reference, or is that just... Are you waxing poetic?
Are we talking about?
It is the pit of despair.
Are we talking about that
Princess Bride.
one ghost from? You said sucked off. We're talking about that one ghost from Ghostbusters.
Oh.
No,
Okay, the albino,
yes.
or the six-fingered man in the
Yeah.
well
Dan
of despair.
Aykroyd has that
The pit of
dream.
despair.
Dan Aykroyd has that dream when
Yeah.
they're in the montage. Yeah, and the belt. You've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would like to see the original cut of that movie where that is a focal point that they actually show the entire scene, because I have questions.
I've been on the internet. I've seen it.
Turn the safe search off. It's fine. But as you heard, Matt is also joining us because it's a What You Doing, and we can't do What You Doing without Matt. Matt, how have you
Happy
been?
Halloween. I'm doing all right. How about you guys? Not as good as Alex,
Excited
apparently.
to be here.
Doing all right. How is Halloween for your little one this year?
Good. We found we discovered that the last couple of years have minimal trick or treating, just a little bit on our street here and there. We discovered that just one street up is the street with the full size candy bars. So
Nice. At least they're close by.
kicking myself for missing out the first couple of years, but also now we know and it's really close. Although there was one, we got a couple of the full size candy bars, but there was one that had a bowl that had a bunch of candy bars and also like pretzels and fruit snacks. And she's like digging around in there when they are giving it to her, and she comes back with 2 bags of fruit snacks. And I'm like, what are you doing? There's full size Kit Kats in there. What are you doing, kid? But it's all right. It's her choice. That's parenting, right? You got to let go and let God.
They got to live with their mistakes sometimes. Yeah. Well, in the spirit of Halloween, we're going to talk about some things that we've been doing away from the podcast. Some spooky, maybe some not so spooky, but maybe they're spooky in other ways. We'll find out. But first and foremost, we're going to hear from one of the connoisseurs of spooky. That is Antonio over at the Cultworthy, and we'll be right back.
The Cultworthy Podcast. Join me, Antonio Palacios, each week as I guide you through a never-ending sea of obscure cinema and cult-worthy gems that deserve a rediscovery. Find me on all listening platforms and at thecultworthy.com. The Cultworthy Podcast. Join us.
Definitely join Antonio over at the Cultworthy, and don't forget to check out Back to the Balcony with him and Justin as well, which is, is that a promo we have, Alex, or is that just one we just keep talking about? I know they have one. I can't remember if we have it.
I think it's a promo we run, but I don't know. I'll have to do a deep dive into that and look at every episode they have. I think there was up to 98 right now, and just really hone in.
Nothing.
Yeah, they're getting
find that
close
one clip to bump them.
They're getting promo right now.
It's true. It's the benefit of having multiple podcasts on one network. But we're sticking to just our one thing, although Ricky and I are trying to figure out when we can have time to record our Wicked episode just in time for the movie to come out. But we're not talking about that right now. You're listening to Talking Smack. We don't need to plug any more stuff. We're doing What You Doing. That's when we talk about the things we're doing away from the podcast that we aren't necessarily trying to content farm, but let's just talk about it because maybe we're enjoying it. Maybe we're going to advise you to stay away from it. Who knows? We will discuss and find out as we go along.
Quick question before we go. Have you ever considered doing an all promo episode?
That'd be great.
I have considered it, but the money has not come in yet for that kind of episode.
I see. Okay.
No, checks need to
Put
clear.
it on the back burner. Okay.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So with What You Doing, we will pass around the buck and ask the question, Matt, what you doing?
Well, I got to be me. Let's talk about Star Trek.
It's gonna be me.
It's been a while now. I think it ended in mid-September or at the end of October, starting November when we're recording this. But Strange New Worlds came back for its third season, just wrapped up, like I said, a month and a half ago or so. And did either of you partake in it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I finished the season. I can't remember if I got to episode 10 or not. I would have to look at my Paramount account. I think I did. I can't remember. It's been too long at this point, and there's been other things on my brain.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately it was like a year and a half or 2 years since the end of season 2. I think, various large like the writer strikes really delayed the season. I think it interrupted them like right in the middle of writing it. But it's more Strange New Worlds if you are into that show, sort of a throwback style adventure, problem of the week Star Trek. I do think I like it. It's a good show. I enjoy it. I do think the third season was probably the weakest so far overall. I mean, there's a couple of reasons we can dig into that as we talk, but Josh, where were you at with it?
I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I did not find the season as consistently good and charming as I did previous seasons. The almost 2 year wait to get that resolution to that cliffhanger ending with the Gorn. That episode, I liked it for the most part, but felt way longer than it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought I came out of that episode thinking like, was that like an 80-minute movie or episode? Like there's a lot that happened and like it felt really long, but it was like a 54-minute episode. So like it wasn't that long. I think that it just felt padded. Like there was just something about the episode where they just were like, we cannot resolve this issue just yet. Let's add in some fluff and just drag this out as much as we can. And I don't know, it didn't flow well for that episode for me. But the follow-up episode with Rhys Darby, I love that episode. That was a lot of fun. And it planted seeds, spoilers for Strange New World season 3. It planted some seeds for, I think, probably the best wild card couple that this show has come up with so far with La'an and Spock.
Yeah.
Like those two together make a lot of sense. And the on-screen chemistry is sexy. I'm just going to say it outright. Like that is phenomenal on-screen chemistry.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think you're absolutely right, but it is interesting just because on one hand, I think traditional Star Trek has always been bad, or at least like not very interested in like ongoing romantic relationships, just because I think partially in the 90s, you're like dealing with episodes that maybe aired out of order. They're coming.
There's shows built for syndication. So yeah, you can't have on long-term ongoing storylines like that carry over some kind of continuity.
Yeah, or even at the time, even besides that, you're also writing because you're assuming people are going to miss episodes, right? You don't know that everyone's going to watch every episode. But it's interesting that I think that is one of the weaknesses of this show specifically, where like they're clearly very interested in doing these kind of romantic pairings, right? They did Chapel and Spock,
especially for Spock. Like they give him 2 relationships a season, it seems.
But what happens is, and this happened with Chapel in season 2 as well, where they will do a bunch of build up to the relationship, and then because of the format of the show and some of the constraints of the show, notably that they have 10 episodes a season, and they're all like big concept episodes that don't really have B plots, that relationship almost immediately recedes to the background, right? Or like we're speed running stuff. In season 2, it was like we did a bunch of build up to get Nurse Chapel and Spock together, then they're almost immediately on the rocks, then they break up, right? And it's like 1 because we don't have the time where like in his 26 episode season or whatever, it's like, okay, that happens, and maybe 5 episodes later we're checking back in with them, right? And with this season with La'an and Spock, it's like they do slightly less build up, but they get them together, and then it just is, right? Like it's really not a relationship we get to spend much time with. Like they're together, but it's not always like,
it's not a defining characteristic of the season in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's one of those things where I like that, and I think you're right that the chemistry is there, but it's like oh, and now what? Okay, maybe we're doing a minor subplot in one episode, but it's kind of an afterthought sometimes. It's just like just a weird quirk of this show.
It literally comes up in the Kirk episode,
Yeah,
where he's like, "Hey, La'an can come along with this mission," and they're like, "Oh, she's on a date with Spock," and he's like, "Oh,
right.
never mind then," because obviously there's like tension built up from previous seasons. So that was something where in a regular pre-streaming platform Star Trek show, you probably would have had like a 2 or 3 episode arc where Spock and Kirk kind of like work this out, or La'an and Kirk have a little heart to heart where like, oh yeah, you kind of missed your window, or like at least the window is no longer open while I'm with Spock.
Yeah, and like I said, in like a TNG or Deep Space Nine, the way that would usually manifest is it's like that's the plot of the episode, right? Where it's like some new character shows up and they fall in love with the Doctor, or they fall in love with Picard or whatever else, and then by the end of the episode something happens and they break up, because the story of this episode is Dr. Crusher's in a relationship and it's weird for some reason, and then next week we're on a different adventure. So it's weird how they like sort of kind of backwards walked into that, but they're trying not to. It's just a very weird thing. The other thing that really started to grate at me this season, and I got to think some of this stuff is just because of the strikes interrupting all their flow, right? But there's a lot of really good episodes. They sort of lean a little too hard on the original series call forward in this season, right? The strongest case I can make for that is I forget the name of the episode, but it is the episode, it's Terrarium, where Ortegas crash lands on the planet and she has to like survive with a Gorn.
As someone who has no foreknowledge of original Trek and what comes after, I thought that was a really good episode.
It's a great episode, and I really like it because it's an episode that is like kind of a classic, and also a classic Trek trope, where it's like the two characters who are enemies are stranded and they have to figure out how to communicate, they have to figure out how to relate to each other so they can both survive. And then the end of the episode, a magic man shows up and goes, by the way, someday we're going to do an episode like this in original series. And I'm like, everything was great until that point. And you said, by the way,
it ends with some weird like celestial thing happening, like some stars are talking to each other, right?
Yeah, because they're calling forward to the original series episode Arena, which is the single Gorn episode before this.
Okay.
Which is about Kirk and a Gorn are thrown into this combat thing as a test to see if they can like work out how not to kill each other, basically, or like figure out some way to like not be at war. So it's like the guy shows up and he's like, oh, by the way, this is a test run for the thing we're going to do later. And it is just like, what an unnecessary staple onto that, where it's just like, okay, do you get it? It's a callback, whatever.
Okay. That makes that whole ending sequence make a little bit more sense.
And like to a lesser extent, you have the episode with Kirk as like doing his first time in the captain's chair. And I think that's another really good episode. And it has that problem much less, but it is also like little moments where, you know, you have the thing where the music swells at the end when Pike is like, you're going to be a great captain someday or whatever. Just weird little moments like that, kind of great. And then I also think that the season finale was kind of a bad, like the first episode I thought was like bad, but that's very negative. But all that to say, I really dig the show overall and I'm glad it exists, but this season was just a little more uneven than the previous 2 seasons were.
One question I had for you for this season was, what was your feeling, or what were your feelings on the Vulcan episode where half the commanding crew become Vulcan for a mission and then they choose not to turn back? Like, my biggest problem with that entire episode was that they seem to have done like a big foreshadow where La'an, as she's transforming, is like, oh, my emotions, they're so overwhelming. And then they all pop up and they're like, we are logical Vulcans who have suppressed our emotions, blah, blah, blah. And I know for like, even just from watching the 2009 J.J. Abrams movie, like there's a whole process that Vulcans go through to suppress those emotions. And they go through like a whole test and they have to be like approved by a Vulcan council or something, that they are able to go forth and suppress their emotion to be presenting as like logical Vulcans and not like Romulans, which I know Romulans are like, they haven't technically been discovered yet, or they're like tangentially known. So like that entire episode where they're just being complete assholes to Spock and they're just being as logical and whatever as they can be. That episode I felt was really weird because I felt like there was some good wiggle room to play with, like, what is a Vulcan without these safeguards that they have created. And it's more just to play up like, hey, look at what Spock had to endure.
It's interesting because I think that you have a point, but also I think that when you land on the concept of like, because in the second season, there's the episode where Spock is becomes fully human, right? So this is just like, and they literally like, they name check that as episode basically when they do this one. It's just an inversion of that, right? So like, I think it's one of those things where there's a lot of stuff you can like criticize about it, and like logically, haha, in universe, whatever, like, you know, Pike gets the injection and then his hair changes, right? That's just, it's kind of they're going for fun and goofy. And I think when you land on the concept of like, let's do the inversion of when Spock becomes human, which is a bunch of people become Vulcan, you want to do them all doing the hyperlogical thing, right? So like, I get it. It's one of those things where I think you probably...
The suspension of disbelief just has to be there. Like, you have to throw logic out the window. No, again, no pun intended.
I don't mind it. I know that like some people don't like it because maybe it's too broad or too goofy. There was some discourse about like, I don't know, Vulcan racism or like being mixed race or whatever, which I was like, I'm staying out of that one. You know, I thought it was fun. It was silly, but it is sort of a thing where I guess another thing that kind of irked me, that there's a couple times where they do that, but they revisit an episode from the previous season, because they also do the episode with the zombies, which is like a whole thing. But that episode is following up on the Mbenga thing from season 2, where we have this really dark and moody episode about like Mbenga in the war and like his PTSD and like being confronted with this guy who he like sees as an enemy, and then that guy ends up dead in the end, and there's a bunch of ambiguity about, did he die in a struggle on accident? Did Mbenga kill him on purpose? Did he go there intending to do it? And they leave you with that question, and then this episode comes around and is basically like, has him be like, oh yeah, I totally did that. And I was like, that's a fine episode and it's fine and it's good, but like I wish you had left that ambiguity in place, you know, like little things like that, where it's just like, they're good episodes still, but it's just those little, and I guess this is kind of the same thing. I don't have the same problem with the Vulcan episode in that way, but it is a thing where it's like, oh, we did a fun one-off episode, oh, now we're following up on it. There's just a part of me that's just like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like
Speaking of the zombie episode, that kind of ties into the last thing I want to talk about really quick about Strange New Worlds season 3, which is the I forget, it's Christina's Nurse Chapel, who is Pike's girlfriend.
Marie Battelle is her name.
Okay. So at the end of season 2, she is infected with Gorn eggs. They do what they can to save her. They suppress the infection, and then we think for like 3 or 4 episodes she's good, and then by like mid-season, this zombie episode, we're like, oh, we find out that the infection is back. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to get this flower, and we're gonna merge her DNA with the Gorn and just hope for the best.
Yeah, like there's no way to eradicate it without
killing her.
Merging it is the only way to like, give her a chance.
So like it comes back one more time when she has this weird freak out when she sees another alien. I forget what. Oh, it's when they're getting their ship invaded by like the scavengers that are like lost humans. She just has this weird primal reaction, and she apparently has like super strength. But like, is that something that actually comes back in later Trek, or is that just something they're adding in?
I think this is all stuff that they're adding in. And honestly, I think that is like probably the other thing in retrospect, I found like really inconsistent about the season, because it's like part of the cliffhanger in season 2 is she's got eggs, and in previous episodes they established like once they get the eggs into you, like you are done, right? So it's like, okay, the season 3 premiere is about finding a way to save her. She's not out of the woods yet, but we like figured it out. And then they do this stuff with the flower to try to stabilize her. We don't know what effect it's going to have, right? But then like throughout the season, it is like completely unclear what her deal is, right? Even just like in terms of being on the ship, right? There's the episode.
They allude to like she could become a horrible mutation. She can do all these other things, and she's just the same. She's fine, other than apparently she has a little bit of like super strength and some like primal instincts.
Well, yeah, and even like the episode you were just talking about, this the zombie episode where they go to find the flower, is an episode that like they're like, I can get any ship in the fleet that I want, and then when I'm ready to go back to work, a couple episodes later, she's like, I got to get my old job as a lawyer back, as a Starfleet lawyer back, because I'm not cleared to fly a ship. And I can't live on this ship forever. I'm moving. And then she gets a new job, right? And then a couple episodes later, it's like, I'm still on the ship. It does not seem consistent. Like, it seems like she's ready to leave the ship. And Pike is like, I can't, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be here without you. I miss you or whatever. Like 3 times throughout the season. And apparently she's just there living on the ship the whole time, you know? And then at the end of the season, it's like, oh, by the way, all this weird random stuff was like me being primed to like become this fight against this like ancient evil that I reacted to previously, and now it's back and I got to fight it, but that means I have to go away and become this magic statue sort of thing, which is like why that finale is bad, right? Because like they do so little setup with this for how much time is given, and then like so they have to spend a bunch of the finale being like, by the way, all this stuff that like that seemed like it was connected to fully this one other thing that was all about the Gorn thing is actually 4 other things that's changing my DNA to make me something even greater that can fight this evil. And I'm just like, what are we doing here? You know?
Yeah, it is a big mess. They're trying to do a lot of Trek stuff while also trying to add depth and layers to it. But yeah, it was totally inconsistent throughout with its storytelling, its tone. Like it does a lot of fun Trek stuff, but overall, it's like you said, it's the weakest of the 3 so far.
Yeah, and I think aside from that finale, I think every single episode, the previous 9, for the most part, I enjoyed them well enough. There's just usually little things that have me like, what are you guys doing here? Which I have to assume is down to strike stuff. Like, you know, I can't imagine it would be a vastly different season story-wise if they had not been interrupted, but hopefully they would have been able to like tighten some of that stuff up and make it play better, but some of it just did not for me.
Yeah. Well, on the plus side, we're getting a puppet episode in season 4, so
yeah,
at least there's that. Alex, what you doing?
I think we should take a moment. If we're going to mention Vulcans and their rituals to suppress emotion, we have to refer to Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 23, Serac, which is a fantastic episode where Serac, Spock's father, has been hiding that he's been undergoing Bendai syndrome, which is basically a Vulcan Alzheimer's, where he loses control of his emotions, but he needs to suppress them for one final peace treaty. And
notably, it starts to infect other people too,
mm-hmm.
right? Because Vulcans are kind of psychic, so everyone's like, oh, we're all fucked up and we don't know why. And then it turns out this guy in the ship is making them go nuts.
One of Next Generation's like top 10 episodes easily. And we get a brief cameo from Spock towards the end of it, if I remember correctly.
I believe that is the first time. Okay, so in the pilot, for the most part, early on, TNG was like, we don't want to do a bunch of callbacks to TOS. We want it to be like on its own. They put Bones in the first episode as like a baton handoff in like the worst old man makeup you've ever seen. And then aside from that, until that episode, so 3 whole seasons, they're like mostly not touching it. And then that's the first time someone like, I don't even remember if he shows up, but like someone says the word Spock. So it's like they waited that long to like try and start deploying those pulls.
Nostalgia buoys. Yeah.
It's such a fantastic episode, though. It's one of those episodes that allows Patrick Stewart to go full Shakespearean training, and it's just on it, and it's just great.
Yeah, and you get Mark Leonard back, who like was Sarek in the original series and played a bunch of other characters too, and it's just like, yeah, it's great. It's beautiful.
Well, aside from that, as it is the Halloween season, there's just things that I do around this time of year. And one of them is I do random deep dives on movies that are kind of comfort films around this time. And one of them is the Blair Witch Project. But instead of just rewatching that one, because I've seen it a few times, it was a cultural milestone back in 1999. And it got me because they released, as part of it, they released a documentary called The Curse of the Blair Witch that aired on Sci-Fi Channel that talked about it as if it was a real thing. They had a full historical, interviews. They had historical documents. They talked about the town of Burkersville and all the history around it with the Blair Witch. And then, of course, they, led into, well, these kids are missing and we found their footage and, go see the movie, because the movie's a documentary kind of thing. Well, I discovered that the Blair Witch Project has, I saw the sequel, Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows, historically not very good, but that's a lot of studio meddling. And then I saw the reboot that came out, 2016. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a fascinating little concept. You had Valerie Curry in there, who has been doing a lot of stuff. The director, it's not Gareth Edwards. Who directed? It might have been Gareth Edwards. But the reason why I have been personally obsessed with it recently, no, it's Adam Wingard. That's who did it.
Oh, really?
And also written by Simon Barrett, who has done like Kong X, Godzilla Kong, The New Empire, Onslaught, and some other. He's also done like The Guest, You're Next, the terrible Netflix Death Note. The reason why I'm obsessed with it at this moment is I did not realize how many other people were just kind of like, I'm passively obsessed with it. I have to rewatch it. I know some of the lore. I'm very interested in what it's going to be doing. Right, it's going to happen because Blumhouse has bought the rights to it, and the original 3 actors in it have kind of struck a deal with them as a promotional thing. They even were given some like back pay that they kind of got somewhat screwed out of when they signed their deal when it got sold from the independent directors who made it to a major studio. There is a cut of this movie. Mind you, the first Blair Witch is under 90 minutes. But to get it sold, they did a proof of concept with the 3 actors called Crybaby Bridge, which was like 24 minutes that they would show to investors like, listen, this is what we can do. This found footage style thing. And then they filmed the movie, recorded like 70 something hours of it over a course of a few days. Then they went in and filmed like some stuff around town. But in the lead up to it, they were releasing the mockumentary. Then they released something called Sticks and Stones, and a deeper dive into the history of missing people. Then there was footage released like to AOL.com, like of deleted scenes that only AOL was ever have access to right before like it released on DVD and DVD and VHS. And then there was the festival cut, which they took it around just shopping to get a major studio involved. And after the festival cut was done, the studios had them go back and film some more pre-footage stuff around town to build out the first act a little bit. But then also they did testing of different endings to the movie. And then there's been issues where people have been trying to compile all this footage together because the original creators basically sold it. They're like, wait, you're going to give us millions of dollars for our $100,000 little project? Fantastic, take it off our hands. And some mistakes were made. Like they put this gloss on the film when it was transferred to VHS and DVD that they kind of like did a VHS kind of gloss, even though they filmed on 60 millimeter, which should be sharper. And the directors have been complaining for years, like, hey, listen, the movie looks a lot better between those 2 different styles of medians. Someone has gone out there and it's called like the Ultimate Fan Cut, and they uploaded it to the Internet Archive. It is cobbled together from as much footage as they can find. It is the ultimate 3 hour and 15-minute cut of the film. It includes like all the deleted scenes, the stuff they could, there's like a Reddit thread called like Lost Media where people like, hey, does anyone remember, or did anyone download like this CD-ROM quality thing from AOL? Did anyone find this? Does anyone have like a copy of the festival cut somewhere that they can I'll buy it from them and transfer it. They even took like the different releases because like one version of the VHS had like deleted scenes at the end that were not included on the DVD version, but of course there were like hidden parts of the DVD. Then it got put on Blu-ray, and then Blu-ray got some other stuff, but then like the release in UK got some stuff that other people didn't. And like the cut that they actually cobbled this together from, this massive, is only available in the UK. It's from a company called like Second Sight that does remasters, kind of like the remasters of footage, and they got even more footage that they touched up. And so this person bought the Blu-ray, edited everything he could together, and it is a phenomenally horrible way to watch this film.
That might be the best way to phrase that, because I can't imagine a worse viewing experience.
Oh no, the person who did it has got to be like some kind of like TV or movie editor, because they put it together and it looks good. It sounds great. They touched up what portions they could to make as much of it look, as much of the media look continuous as possible. So you don't all of a sudden have like 4 pixels and then you have 4K pixels. But there's a reason why the cut we got was like 88 minutes. And it is a 3-act structure. When you stretch it out to 3 hours and 15 minutes, when you're including like a sequence that's called Craig Baby Bridge, is like 24 minutes, and it's about them going to a spot near Burkittsville where you hear the cries of some of the children that the witch like took, and it's them wandering a bridge at night with occasionally cars passing by for 25 minutes. It's not great. But I can get it. You shot this, you edited it together well, you say, hey, look, this is what we can do. And then it's like an extra like 35 minutes of them in the hotel room goofing off, bonding with each other before the actual like go on the hunt. And there's random extra scenes of additional people in the town that they're talking about the Blair Witch to. And then they cut in some of the other like police footage of them of like looking for them at the end of it, because once they go missing, and then they do the, oh hey, we found this, like we're looking in the woods, because they filmed some of that, like people going into the woods looking for them, and then finding like the Rustin Parr's cabin, and then the digging around where they found the footage in the ground. They include that like at the end as like kind of like an epilogue. If you really want everything Blair Witch, it's a great way to spend 3 hours, 50 minutes. But if you actually want to be scared, or it's not a great way of doing it. It's just more for like the 4 people who are like, I can't get enough of this. Inject more directly into my veins, please. I need a little bit more. But there is another edit that's out there that I think is more fascinating. Blair Witch 2 Book of Secrets. The studio wanted immediately, hey, listen, we got to get this out. But it was filmed like a traditional movie. The director of it, his original script and what he originally submitted, he is a documentarian primarily. And so he filmed it as kind of like a reactionary, a social contract, where this is what people are doing now. They're going out there. They're looking for the kids. They're like toying around with stuff, the hype around it. He filmed it more of a commentary. The studio then got
so it's almost
footage.
like an alternate reality where the concept of the found footage of the Blair Witch 1999 was actual. So like, it's almost like a slight alternate universe where like, this is real footage. These people are now missing. Let's go document ourselves going out and trying to solve this thing.
Oh yeah, exactly. So that's what they did. It's like they saw the movie in the theaters and now they're doing their pilgrimage. But when he turned it in, the studio went, this is too heady for us. And they chopped it back up to basically be like a slasher thriller twist thing. And he kind of like washed his hands of it, did his press tour, all that stuff. It was not well received, but he's talked about it a few times. And some people got the original script, and through his interviews about how he his original format of the movie, that he's talked about like how he structured it. And because they used a lot of his footage, but then they use this footage, but they put different scenes, different places. They put different reveals in different areas. And of course since it was on DVD, they released deleted scenes. They have cobbled together a fan edit that makes it more what he was doing based off of his script notes. And it actually is a pretty decent movie, because it is that full commentary on the obsession of, oh, I saw something, let me make this my life's journey. And then it, instead of like the reveal towards the end, is very ambiguous as to what happened in that movie, but it makes it more that it's about the people's obsession drove them to reenact the Blair Witch and like kind of get rid of each other, than what the movie in the theaters released, which is more like the witch is real and they all suffer the same fate kind of thing. So yeah, that's my October has been like finding out, like just a casual, I wonder what other stuff about Blair Witch is out there. And it's like, oh my God, these people are absurd and they need more to do with their lives, but I'm going to watch this stuff because I have less to do with my life, and I will reward you for your mania here, sir.
I was on the I Have Some Notes Discord channel earlier in the week, and I think it was Greg had posted something about like figuring out like a Halloween scary movie marathon by doing finding these 3 criteria for movies to watch. And like one of them was find a horror movie that deserves a sequel that never got one. And the first movie that came to mind for me was I think it was like a 2007 found footage kind of movie called Quarantine, which I always viewed as like the prequel to the Left 4 Dead games. Lo and behold, I find out that apparently there's like 2 or 3 sequels to that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that those were made.
So Quarantine, I saw that in the theaters, and it scared the hell out of me.
I don't like scary movies, but I really enjoyed that one.
I didn't realize that it was a remake of a Spanish film. And yeah, it's that Spanish film that has like 4 sequels. And from everything I've seen, they just get progressively more absurd and worse. And I'm like, I'm good with the one almost shot for shot American remake. But what you been doing, Josh?
So I'm going to liven things up a little bit. And Ricky and I have been watching... We haven't gotten to season 2 yet, but there's a Netflix show starring Kristen Bell and Adam Brody called Nobody Wants This. It's a romantic comedy that is about a late 30s, early 40s something podcaster who ends up dating a Jewish rabbi who is very handsome. It's just it's a really nice change of pace from what I've come to expect from Netflix original content. Really well acted. The writing, I think, is a little over the top, but it does give me... It's not quite as good on the writing side of it as Shrinking is, but it feels very similar to that in terms of its comedy, where it's not like overtly funny. It's more the dialogue, the situational comedy that all plays into it. The one thing I really just like connected with early on is I think it's towards the end of the first episode when the 2 characters finally meet each other. The difference in how the characters are attracted to each other is just wonderfully conveyed through the performances. Like Kristen Bell is this, we'll say fancy free. She's never had a serious relationship kind of girl. And she just is like, oh, there's a hot guy. Maybe he'll treat me like shit, but it might be worthwhile for a few days so I can get some raunchy sex out of it. Whereas Adam Brody's character is like, wow, that woman is gorgeous and she looks like she could be fun. She looks like exactly what I need right now. And maybe it could become something more. And they have this really great flirtation where, again, that those differences in perspective come through, but a lot of it is in the face. It's not necessarily through the dialogue. And it is just really great performances that really sell each character's perspectives, even when they're not saying anything. And I really appreciate that a lot when it comes to like the nuance and things. Because I was talking about it, I think last week in our Chainsaw Man episode, where so much streaming right now is largely based around like secondary screen viewing, where shows are created with the idea that people are just sitting on their phones instead of watching the TV while they're playing something. And this show, I don't think, does a lot of that. It does do quite a bit of narrating and like explaining the stakes of things. But I think because a lot of this has to deal with family drama and business drama, you kind of need to explain the stakes because not everyone's going to understand those things. So just because Kristen Bell's character, who is in a business partnership with her sister for a podcast that they have, and they're in the process of having their podcast bought out.
That's the dream.
I know, right? I feel a little attacked because that's just not happening for us. And there's a lot of unspoken tension that is clearly there. Like at one point early in the season 1, Kristen Bell's sister is left to go and carry on a business meeting while she's trying to go on a date with Hot Rabbi, played by Adam Brody. And eventually the subtext comes out where Kristen Bell's like, you're the fuck up. Like, you're the one that no one expects anything from because we always expect you to just fail because you're so selfish. And like you get that from their relationship as the episodes have progressed, but because it comes out, it's not really expositing. It's coming out and saying a thing that has been welling up inside for forever. It's something that's been done in movies forever. And so in media, I should say, not just movies. So like it's not something that it really feels like it's doing a show don't tell or a tell don't show because no one's paying attention. It's doing it because that is how it's done. And so I really appreciate the avenues that the show is taking to not cater to the second screen viewing kind of situation that's happening with a lot of streamers.
That's actually commendable.
When TV's good, TV's good.
Yeah, it comes as a highly, strongly recommend from me. It's obviously not family friendly fare. Lots of language, lots of innuendos, but it's just a really charming show with a really, really good chemistry between its leads and a pretty strong supporting cast. Like the Adam Brody's character's younger brother is this like massive 6'7" dude who has like huge little brother syndrome. Like his body is an encapsulation of little brother syndrome. He walks into a room and he's immediately like, let's make this about me. What's happening? And it's also like a great deflection for his character as well, where he's trying to diffuse situations that are really tense. And he ends up just being like, oh yeah, this is about me, right? We're talking about me. Yeah, let's do this. And he plays like both sides of the fence on arguments, and it plays off just wonderfully. Like I said, I don't think it's as well written or as sharply written as Shrinking is, but overall, I think it's just a really wonderful show.
It's got Dave Rogalski in it.
Dave Rogalski, Gilmore Girls. Yep. Hashtag Team Dave all the way. Alex, let's bounce back to you. What you doing?
Justin, turn away now. You can skip ahead about 15 minutes or so.
15 minutes? Jesus.
I hope it's
well.
Not.
I'm assuming
a lot
about
of time already on this.
Hey, I'm assuming about 12 minutes. It's going to be stunned silence as soon as I finish. There's a Glenn Powell show on Hulu that just finished called Chad Powers.
Nope, I know what you're talking about. Nope.
I don't know why, but
I'm out.
I like this stupid show. It's dumb.
I think it's because you don't like good things, Alex. We go through this almost every What You Do, and when you start talking about your Mr. Beast shows,
I don't know.
Can't you just watch the Great British Bake Off like everyone else?
Mr. Beast comes back soon. Actually, he's been renewed by Amazon for like 3 seasons. I don't know. I put it on because I'm like, you know what? I like Twisters. It has become Twister paired with Twisters. It's become a comfort show, a movie, and I like it because they were smart and ended without the two leads, Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones, getting together as like, oh, we're in love because we chase tornadoes. No, it just ended with them like, we're friends who love chasing tornadoes, and they kind of run off to go keep doing that. I respect that, and it's a good emotional movie. And I haven't really paid attention to anything else Glenn Powell's been in because, you know, once he's like popped, it's like, okay, oh, that's right, he apparently was in like Spy Kids 4 or some crap like that. I don't know. I'm not going back to that.
Sorry, Spy Kids 3D, game over.
It's in 3D. Okay,
I'm looking at it right now because I'm trying to remember the name of that fucking show.
Chad Power starts. It's a weekly drop on Hulu. And I'm like, you know what? I will give this a shot. What is this dumb movie? And it's about, and I appreciate it. It starts off showing, it's the very first thing, shows him in a Cybertruck, setting up that he's a complete douchebag. And he admits it. And in fact, they actually mock the Cybertruck a lot of the show, which I appreciate. But he's a jerk who threw away his college career because he did he's a quarterback who did the thing where he took off running to win the game, and he dropped the ball at the 1 yard line as he started celebrating, and then his life spiraled out from there because he like also of course like yelled at a young kid with cancer who was there to like support him, but he was so upset with himself he like punched his coach and knocked the coach into the kid, and has a terrible life like 9 years later. This was such filmed a show, such a timely show that it includes a cameo of him in a club on the first episode, and the Haktua girls there.
This sounds just like a conflation of just like the worst shit ever, and like everyone's just acknowledging, hey, we're awful, but we are rich. Fuck you.
So he wants to get back into like, you know, recapturing his life, and just as he's about to sign a deal with the XFL to try to like come back, the cancer kid finally dies as a teenager. And he's like, of course, God keeps fisting me because I am his play toy. Well, his dad is is a Hollywood makeup artist, and
The Cancer Kid or Chad Powers?
Chad Powers' dad is a makeup artist who's like, you got to get your life together. I'm tired of supporting you. Get out of my house with your bullshit car and all this crap. Well, Chad decides, his name is Russell, and he decides, Glenn Powell's name is Russell, and he decides, I'm going to go back to college as someone else and earn a starting spot and start over. So he steals his dad's makeup kit, puts on prosthetics, and earns the starting spot on a college team as Chad Powers. Chad is a really sincere guy who he builds this backstory that he's just this guy from like backwoods, like nowhere, and I just like playing ball. That's all. The Lord, I'd never even finished school, but I'm here to try out and be on the team. The show is supposed to be a comedy. It's also produced by the Mannings, because it's based off of
because it's inspired by an SNL skit or an ESPN thing that Eli Manning went and he tried out for like the Wisconsin Badgers or like Tennessee Volunteers or something. Yeah.
When you say it's supposed to be a comedy, is that you tipping your hand here?
Oh, no. There's parts that are funny, but it is a comedy. It is also because, I mean, him as Chad is actually funny because people just don't know how to react to this, like, good old home boy who tells weird stories about like, oh, I there's no highlights of me because we didn't have no TVs or nothing. We just played outside for fun. And people reacting to that. And there's some like, him getting in stupid situations because he's trying to hide himself. And then he has a friend who is a team mascot who notices who he is like almost immediately and starts helping him build this persona because he thinks if I help you, we'll elevate us both together because people keep beating me up because I'm the mascot. In the mascot suit and don't care about me. But the show pisses me off a little bit and yet redeemed itself at the same time because it's only 6 episodes and they're on the 6th game of the year. They're going on a winning streak. There's, of course, like, oh, will he get captured by this person? Will they know this? And there's some stupid family drama that doesn't really matter. And you can see it coming a million miles away because the coach of the Fish Eyes or whatever the heck that their team is, the head coach, his daughter is also one of the coaches, but they don't pretend like not to interact with each other because they don't want to think it's nepotism, but nobody respects her, even though she's a great game plan designer and all this stuff. The reason why I like this show is because her name is Ricky. She's one of the assistant coaches for the Catfish, and it's played by the role's played by Perry Matfield, someone who I've never seen her in anything. Apparently, she was in a few episodes of Shameless and some other stuff. But when she realizes that Chad doesn't actually exist and that it's actually been Russ Holiday this whole time, she is amazing in that moment because without talking, you can see her entire world crumble. As this person that she's been leaning on, that's been supportive of her, that they've been like game planning together. He, anytime like one of the other coaches would put her down and like not do one of her plays, he would run one of her plays, and of course it would work. And they've been kind of like bonding, like, could they be a romantic tension there? When she figures it out that this entire thing's been a lie and he's actually someone else, her confrontation of him is so good that my wife was just like, that is a woman who knows how to express heartbreak, because she's not heartbroken that she's been duped. She says it towards the end of like the end of her monologue. She says, I'm not mad that you're Russ. I'm mad my friend Chad is dead. And it is so good. And then it ends on this moment. The series ends up, well, they're hoping to get more seasons, but they're only partway through the football season. But it ends with her going, and now I have to expose you. And as she's walking off to do that, that's where you see that Russ, who has been becoming a better person as Chad, he's trying to actively be a better person. He's still a dick because he says, you won't. Because if you say that I'm Chad, that destroys the entire program, and that destroys your dad's reputation, because you have lied and been putting an ineligible player on your team and knowingly covering it up. Your football program will be sanctioned and destroyed, and that will also ruin your career, your dad's career, and everyone on the team right now. you're not going to do anything. You're going to let me play today. And then she looks at him, and you realize they both have guns at each other, basically, and neither of them can pull the trigger because he's right. She will destroy her career and her dad's career and that entire program's career. But she will also destroy him because he's a scumbag who cheated his way onto a team again. And that continues Russ Holiday being this pariah who doesn't deserve a place in football. And neither of them can do anything. And that's how the season ends, is them basically agreeing we're both going to keep this lie going because it's for the good of everyone else that we don't do this to each other. And so it's a comedy like The Bear.
Heartbreak really does feel good in a place like that.
But I mean, Glenn Powell's good at it. Like, you can actually see as he's doing it, you can see him like starting to fall apart because he is getting respect and admiration, and he's building bonds with people that would never actually talk to him because Russ Holiday has been a laughingstock pariah for like the last 9 years. But he's rebuilding his life, and he's learning to trust people and doing what he believes he was born to do. And he's actually rebuilding his relationship with his dad and stuff, and actually having a female relationship that isn't built upon using him or clout, because that's part of the thing, is that a lot of people briefly cling on to him for clout and then leave him and then dump him. And he does it very well. Like, I think she's the Perry Matfield who plays Ricky. It's phenomenal. Like, that scene should be Golden Globes, Emmys, whatever, to show how good she is. Because she could have played that 1,000 ways, and she played it just perfectly. And my wife was just like, damn. And I was like, wow, she's really like upset here. And I was expecting like this big explosion of like emotion, throwing crap or something. But no, she just did this cold simmer of pain. And Glenn Powell, I continue to kind of like him as an actor.
Well, I'll tell you what. Chad Powers is a show like there is a class of show. I would say I want to put Chad Powers in this. Your Tulsa King, your Jeremy Renner is the Bad Mayor show that I see advertised, and I'm convinced that it's some kind of money laundering scheme that nobody's actually watching. And you have made the most impassioned case I can imagine for that show based on like my perception of that, based on like the couple of trailers I saw.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch it, but you got me like halfway interested for a second there. So, I mean, good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will say it was a lovely speech, Alex, but no, I definitely won't be watching either. I have no interest in the Manning brothers stroking each other off, and then also Glenn Powell doing whatever he does with his tiny eyes.
You know, Tulsa King's on its 4th fucking season. Who's watching that show?
I don't.
Who's watching it?
And you guys are so judgmental about things being like watched that you guys just don't care about.
You're right. No, if it was good, I'd be watching it.
I've been giving shit to Game Club Pod Alex because he's been really on a bender about the whole 6-7 thing, which I literally learned about from him ranting about it. I didn't know that was a thing about it at all.
Don't tell me about it.
I've been giving him crap because it's one of those blind spots where I'm just like, oh, whatever, just get over it. And then all of a sudden I like, oh, fuck Glenn Powell. No, people can't enjoy shit. Then yeah, you guys pull that card out on me. So that's all I'm going with that.
If Chad Powers, Tulsa King, Bad Mayor were good shows that have a superhero in them, and they'd be on the CW.
Or they'd be on HBO Max.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
I'm referring to the Penguin.
Well, I'm talking about the hit TV show Arrow.
If it was on the CW, you'd watch it. And who
Hey, the
watches that
Arrowverse
shit?
lasted for what, 10 years, 15 years?
Like 10 years, and less than 1 million people watched each episode.
I was there.
Matt, what you doing?
I've been playing that new Pokemon game, Pokemon Legends ZA, which is the second game in the, I guess, series, the Legends offshoot. The first game was called Legends Arceus and came out in 2022. It is a branch of the Pokemon series that is a little more open world in terms of, it's open world in the mechanism by which it tweaks the battle mechanics. It tweaks the sort of capture mechanics. Pokemon's a game where you go out and catch monsters, build a team, battle them. And this game and Arceus both are games where, like, in a mainline Pokemon game, you do the random battles in a JRPG style. And if you want to catch a Pokemon, you got to weaken it, fight it, get it down in health, and then throw your Pokeball and catch it, put it on your team. In this one, you still do the battles. It's theoretically possible to catch Pokemon without battling them. There's like a stealth mechanic, so if they're weak enough, you can just toss the ball and go. The previous game was set in sort of an ancient, like a rural ancient Japan-esque.
It was like 300 years in the past or something like that.
Yeah, so it was like not very, didn't have a lot of cities. It had one central like social area, and the rest of them were like nature areas. This game is set fully within the bounds of a city, Lumio City, which is returning from Pokemon X and Y. And it's the same kind of thing where, like, you just kind of go throughout the city, you catch Pokemon, there's little zones that are like set up as sort of like wild areas where Pokemon just run about. And the combat has been tweaked even from the previous Legends game, where it's more of a real-time combat thing now, where like you send out your Pokemon, you give them directions to which moves to use. They're all mapped to your face buttons on your controller, and they're all in a cooldown. So it's like you're kind of managing your zone in that way. And you, as the trainer, are moving around throughout in those battles, which is different than many of the other games. And yeah, is it good? I don't know. I don't have any perspective on this, but I will say that, like, the weekend it came out, I picked it up kind of on a whim, and we had guests in town that weekend, and I still managed to log like 6 hours in between various other tasks, because like once the gameplay loop started, once the like interminable tutorialization ended, I like really got stuck on the loop where it's just like, oh, there's a new zone open. I can go and just throw my little balls. I can do stuff around the city. So yeah, I don't know if it's good, but I am really vibing with it. And Josh, my understanding is like you have several people in your home playing this game, at least
I
one,
have
right?
Three. My household has 3 copies of this game because my 2 oldest kids each have their own Switch Minis or whatever they're called, Switch Lights. And then Ricky, we got her a Switch 2, and she has her Switch 2 copy. So yeah, there are many people in my house playing it. I've seen the game played. I liked the like almost like real time action RPG element of the game, where instead of, like you said, like, oh, you're finding it, you enter into your turn-based combat with the Pokemon, and then you try to catch it at a certain point. Instead, you can like you said, stealth around, throw a ball, try and capture them. I like that element a lot.
And even if you do battle them, because in a normal Pokemon game, it's like you have to kind of judge, like, okay, is its health low enough that I can do it now? In this one, it's just like, okay, if you fight it and you kill it, then you have a period of time where you can try to catch it, as opposed to like having to figure out, okay, is the health low enough that I'm going to be able to catch it?
Yeah, you got to find the sweet spot. I think, I can't remember if this is part of Arceus, but the Pokemon attacking the trainer, the character, the player, as well as the Pokemon. I don't know if that's a new element added into ZA, but that one I think is a little weird, where if you're in like a wild zone, I kind of understand it, because the Pokemon's just like, that's the guy trying to get me, I should take him out. But if you're in like a trainer battle, I don't understand that, where they can also knock out the trainer. I feel like that's a weird caveat added into either the Legends series or at least this version of the game.
Yeah, it was in the previous game to some degree, although I don't recall how it factored into the battles. That's something where I'm wondering how much is, because it is a thing where, if a Pokemon has a move that just like shoots a beam, right? Even if it's not aiming at you, if you're behind, like if you're in the way of the beam, you're going to get hit. And that applies to Pokemon. So it's like if there's a group thing, a group ganging up on you, you might hit several of them. So I wonder if it's just a thing where in those battles, it's more about positioning as opposed to them coming after you. But like, that is part of it too. Like it is possible, as opposed to, well, yeah, one of the ways you can lose a fight is if you you have, I don't know, 3 or 4 hits you as the trainer can take, which is, I think in Arceus, it was mostly about like the big boss battles, which were, I think, versions of the alpha Pokemon, which are like stronger kind of mini boss Pokemon you find around in this game. But I don't, or if you just didn't have a Pokemon out, like, and you pissed one off, they'd come for you. And I'm having trouble remembering exactly how much that existed as it does here in that game, because it was so long ago that I played it. But it is a thing that can be irritating, especially when you're fighting a boss Pokemon or the alpha Pokemon, because it's like those ones seem to be like, no, fuck you, especially, as opposed to like the other guys where it seems like you maybe get some splash damage, as opposed to, oh no, I'm chasing after you and I'm trying to like slice your head off.
Yeah, those are the battles that I've noticed Ricky really does not like, is when they like either there's an AoE attack and she's caught in the line of fire, or if they just lock in on her for whatever reason. Like those are the ones where she's just like, fuck it, I'm done. And then 5 minutes later, she's like, all right, let's try again.
Yeah. I'm really digging it. And I'm kind of like a mark for Pokemon to begin with. But I vibe with it. The gameplay loop is just, I've got plenty of games that I'm sort of like picking away at here and there. Some you may argue are like better games, but something about this specific setup is just like, oh, my brain is like lighting up when I'm playing it. New guy to get.
Yeah, I get
very
that.
streamlined. Yeah, very streamlined take on the mechanics of the mainline games too, where it's like makes setting up your moves very easy, very simple. If you change your mind, swap them back, very easy. It makes like evolving your Pokemon or not very simple. Just lots of little quality of life things.
This would be a good time, since you guys have mentioned mechanics several times, to mention that Nintendo and Pokemon are incredibly predatory corporations who do the basic things to reestablish their brand every year. This is a little more than roster update, like they would call Madden 2024 or 2025 roster update. And also that Nintendo and Pokemon are suing companies claiming that they own the copyright to any mechanic in which you attempt to capture a creature in a video game, and putting other companies out of business.
Alex, I just want you to know Matt's going to retort this by saying Nintendo is his friend.
Here's what I'll say.
No, Matt, you have no rebuttal for that. It's an $80 game that just did nothing more than updated its roster.
Here's what I'll say. First of all, okay, look, we can talk about the insane state of video games as an industry right now. You are such a fool, because it isn't a roster update.
No, it is. And also they didn't even put any attempt to establish this open world with any kind of continuity. I have seen the screen grabs of walls with having 4 different textures on them when you turn a corner and being completely different. This is little more than a roster update. And if you want to argue that Madden and other games are not roster updates, yes, they put in new mechanics every year as well.
I don't think Matt's ever going to argue in favor of Madden. Like, I think it's more...
No, Pokemon is nothing more than Madden for geeks. They release the same game every year with minor updates and charge a premium product price for it.
As someone who is not invested in the Pokemon games, I would say that there is a pretty significant difference between like the Legends games and the baseline, just like Pokemon, Scarlet, Violet, whatever like came before that, Shield and Sword. Like I can definitely see that argument of the roster update with just like slightly better graphics, newer Pokemon, or just like different Pokemon available. I can be on your side with that argument, Alex, but I will say that the Legends games specifically are significantly different styles of games.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. But I'm saying this is how it feels like anytime that I mention Tom Cruise and you go on a rant.
Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'll say. I can't talk about
care.
You guys and
just
your...
no. Listen, you bitched about Chad Powers and me watching bad stuff. I'm letting you know your company's bad and we can move on. I didn't really provide a defense. We can move on. You got your 12 minutes of Pokemon glazing a multi-billion-dollar corporation you're calling is your friend. We can move on.
Okay, hold on a second, because this is what's happening. I want to express to you the last few minutes. I can literally not tell how serious you're being, and I did not fucking say they were my friend. Josh said I would say they were my friend. All right,
that's usually your punchline to any argument you have about like. And by the way, Nintendo is my friend.
I will
say it is.
The thing I was going to say.
Punchline.
Everybody, shut the fuck up for a second. The thing I was going to joke to you about was it's not a roster update. They didn't add a new fucking Pokemon.
Oh, they didn't?
That's not what this series does. That's not what this offshoot series does.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
That said,
that sucks.
That said, because this is not a mainline entry, quote unquote mainline entry,
Yeah.
it's not a generational update in terms of when they do add the Pokemon. It's an offshoot that is more interested in mechanical changes. Here's the thing. I like this game. There's a lot you could say about Nintendo, about the gaming industry, in general, and how fucked it is for all kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
Which we don't have time to get into right now.
Yeah.
Whether or not $80 games, $70 games are worth it, and why they're costing that much.
Yeah.
All kinds of ways. We could spend a whole hour on this. I could talk about this for an hour with you guys not saying anything.
Yeah. Day one DLC that you have to pay for is bullshit.
The only thing I will say is I think there are, in terms, if I'm taking your assault on me seriously, I do think if you are following, if this is something you follow, it is more complex than just they made a bunch of guys and slapped the same game on it.
Oh, no, it is. I was just, the only reason I brought it up is because I was shocked yesterday that the Japanese courts ruled that Pokemon/Nintendo suing Pal World, claiming they have a patent, which they did not even file until earlier this year. So they could sue Pal World, that they have a patent on any game in which you throw an object to defeat a creature. They lost that patent.
That's the thing.
And that is incredibly rare. That normally when Japanese corporations sue and they have a patent, the courts almost never overturn it or throw out the patent. But the Japanese courts ruled that is a patent that is in way too many video games. You cannot claim that as yours.
Right. And it is so funny. That case specifically is so funny because Pal World, Nintendo suing Pal World, I think they had a case because a lot of that stuff is actionable. You look at the guys that they put in Pal World and it's like, you stole a Pokemon and changed it. Barely. The way that they did sue them was for something else that was not arguably, apparently, according to the Japanese courts as well, was not actionable. It's like, why did you do this weird thing instead of just say, you stole our fucking guy and put a hat on it or some shit?
Well, the thing is, they have no standing with that lawsuit if they do that, because Pokemon directly ripped off a previous game series, and it was a collectible card game series that was involved about evolving your creatures into more powerful ones after capturing them. It was a series called, I think, Dragon Hunter Monster Guys or something like that. And it was like a card game. And the creator of Pokemon played that game and then went, I can do a video game based off this. So that's actually that's part of the reason why they didn't sue about that part, is because they established their own brand by ripping off somebody else. I think they eventually bought that game out too.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When we're sitting here talking about how no one's going to watch Chad Powers, are you feeling as attacked as I felt just then? No, you came at me. I'm like positive now that you were like joking, but for a second I was like, is he really fucking coming at me right now with this? No, I was like, I cannot tell, because you were stone faced. You were being totally serious, and I was like, what is happening to me right now?
No, I'm completely fucking with you, because I was spending I was like, I need to find a break because I want to do this. So I was waiting for the moment, and I'm crafting the first sentence in my head about how do I want to go at this angle.
That said, my joke is, there is literally no corporation that is your friend. Oh, and there's one exception, and it's the Nintendo Corporation, and they're my friend. That's the joke that Josh was saying.
No, I don't. The thing is, I don't actually care, because what is the phrase? Don't yuck my yum or whatever. I stopped watching Pokemon a long time ago, but I can't deny people who love it. Like, and like my little brother, I don't like playing necessarily Dead by Daylight. I think it's a very predatory monetization by going after horror icons just to rip people off, to spend $40 to play as a little more than a skin of Ghostface or Nightmare on Elm Street or Chucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a skin. That's really all it is. And then they do FOMO by putting maps behind paywalls, but then also you can't play them during certain seasons until it comes back, and you can buy them again, stuff like that. And they raise the price. I play with him because I want to bond with him, and if I'm going to, this is a game he wants to play. Okay, cool. I'm not going to spend money on it, but hey, it's a good time just to bitch around and run around and turn on generators, and to try to escape.
Suffice it to say,
I was just like, wait, he's like, I'm never going to watch this. How dare you watch it? I was like, did he know about the Pokemon lawsuit? Did he know about the ruling yesterday?
you threw me for a loop there. I was like, no, I don't care. I'm pretty sure he's fucking with me. But he's really selling it to me right now.
No, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I'm actually glad people are joining it, because the thing that I've been seeing online is people bitching about how glitchy the game is. I feel like for being an $80 game, like how glitchy it is. And I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah, I've admittedly not, and I don't know how much that is the Switch 1 version, because it's on Switch 1 and Switch 2. I'm playing on Switch 2.
I thought maybe it's Switch 2 exclusive. Oh, okay.
You can't get rid of that revenue stream.
It runs pretty well for me, but I can't say it's also, it's not even compared to, like, if you stack it up against other Switch 2 games like Donkey Kong, like Mario Kart, it's not the one that's going to put its best foot forward,
Oh, earlier today, you just reminded me. Sorry, my friend. I went to my friend's house and we played Mario Party together, and they had it on the Switch too, and we played it. The little Joy-Cons being split up among like 4 people to play Mario Party, that is actually really fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's great. One of the big selling points of the original Switch. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I haven't really played with them because I cannot invest in multiple platforms. I have a desktop and I have whatever PlayStation is laying around the house. But like they gave me a little controller. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Why is my controller this way and yours is that way? And it's like, oh, okay, you have the left side of the Joy-Con. I have the right side, but they still all do the. You can still flick the. Throw your hand up to make the dice spin and all that stuff. And we were playing it, and I was getting my ass kicked, and we were sneaking around stealing stars from each other. I'm like, this is a great time. The graphics are nice.
Suffice it to say, the video game industry is completely fucked for all kinds of reasons. So all your points, even though I was like, literally like, I was the Mr. Crab meme where I'm just like, everything you're saying is like, has some basis in, there's something there,
I do have a question for y'all. So you've played Mario Party, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why, if you're playing Yoshi, every time they go to like a title screen or like a little victory screen, does Yoshi turn around and shake his butt?
That's his animation. He just wants to show you what he's got.
Because like everyone's like jumping or like doing like little like jazz hands or something, but Yoshi like turns around and wiggles his butt at the camera.
he's just trying to show you. He's just, hey, look what I got going on.
Yeah, he's saying ride me.
All right, Jesus Christ, Josh, get me out of this.
He's a mount.
I was gonna say
him.
It's just coincidence that you said that before I said this, because I was already like, I'm exhausted.
Matt, no, I would never actually attack you on camera.
I was like, do you feel like we're attacking you when we're doing this and you're really trying to get your revenge? I couldn't tell.
No.
I'm exhausted. Like, Josh, what are you doing?
So this is one that at least Alex and I are doing together. We didn't watch it together. I watched it on my flight to and from Disney World.
I tried to watch it with him. He wouldn't let me sit next to him on the plane.
Yeah, you had to be in your Creighton underneath, man.
I was like, did you guys go to Disney World together without me?
No, you would have gotten.
I don't know what to believe anymore when you guys speak.
Well, you can believe that I watched Alien Earth on my tablet as intended.
No, your
Alien
second
Earth,
screen.
Yeah, second screen. But I was on a plane, so like there's literally nothing else going on.
He had Alien Earth on the tablet, and he had the Netflix show on his TV.
I was actually watching the flight progress because I wanted to make sure I was actually getting a few episodes in before the flight. And plus, I'm always just curious, like, what am I flying over right now? Because I don't fly that often. But Alien Earth is a prequel series, but it's not a prequel series. It's its own standalone series. It's not tied into the Alien universe. It might be tied into the Alien versus Predator universe, but we don't know. Probably won't get a season 2 based on the things I'm seeing. First 4 or 5 episodes, pretty good, pretty solid, very interesting. Final 3 or 4 episodes, complete shit. The first 4 episodes deals with the world and like the establishments that control it. So like the idea is there's a newly minted 5th company in this world. There are 4 that run the world. Now there's a 5th one, and it's run by a boy genius. I forget his name. It's like Kid Cowboy or something like that.
Boy Cavalier.
Boy Cavalier, sure. Something stupid. He's basically Mark Zuckerberg.
CEO of Prodigy.
Yeah, because he's that nuanced. But like Weyland Yutani is another one, and Yutani has commissioned this deep space expedition that's been going on for like 60 years. They're coming back, and they brought back a bunch of specimens, basically acknowledging that other aliens exist in the alien universe, one of them being a xenomorph. The first episode picks up with this spacecraft crashing at Earth and lands in Prodigy territory. And the main thing that differentiates these companies from each other is how they handle artificial intelligence or androids, cyborgs. So companies can either specialize in cyborg, part human, or human with robot parts. They can deal with android, fully autonomous AI robots, or they can deal with hybrids, which is a new technology that deals with implanting human consciousness into a machine. And Prodigy, part of their rise to power is because they have figured out that only children can do it. So they basically buy terminally ill children from their families and upload their consciousness into these robot bodies. And then they basically say, oh, they died in the process. Sorry, here's a settlement. Go about your day. And then the kids are left in these robot bodies to kind of acclimate.
Just like Master Chief.
Pretty much. The concept behind that pretty much never goes beyond that until the final few episodes. And even that, like, they only go so deep as like the kids finally realize that, oh, hey, we are super strong. We can do other things. We're not human anymore. Why do we care what happens to humans? By the way, there's a xenomorph running around that one of them can communicate with. So it's kind of like its mom in a way. It's really strange by the end of the episode, by the end of the season. There's like a Peter Pan Neverland allegory going on because these kids are basically mentally stuck as kids until they decide that they're going to mature in some fashion. But it's not physically because they just grow up and they're in they get grown-up bodies, but mentally they're kids. And there's a really messy allegory system happening there. And again, tangentially, there's this side story where a xenomorph is around along with a bunch of other aliens. The other aliens, like the only one that's actually interesting is like there's this little eyeball alien that like screws itself into whatever creature's eye socket that it can, and then it just takes over its body. It's kind of like the fungus in The Last of Us.
Just like the flood.
Or the spores. Yeah, the flood. They're basically just ripping off Halo in this show. But there's good concepts, but by the time they get to the finish, it's just a complete mess where they just went, what is the most surface level thing we can do here? Because part of the whole Alien franchise is the corporation is really the bad guy. The alien is like the circumstance that they put you in, but the corporation, Weyland Yutani, is the one that is preventing you from surviving the situation because whatever safeguards they have in place, they want that monster for profit, to figure out how they can profit off of it, even if it means your death. And in this case, this company, in this show, this company Prodigy is essentially profiting off death by getting their prototypes for these hybrids done. And then they're also trying to get the monsters that have crash landed in their area, and they're studying them, doing all these things. But the like anti-capitalist ideas of the Alien movies just completely get washed away because we can't go that deep because obvious Disney reasons.
Matt, did you didn't watch this, did you?
I did not. No.
Are you a fan of the Alien series at all?
I don't know that I would call myself a fan. I've seen some of the movies and I've enjoyed them, but I don't follow it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Like, I like Aliens and Alien, but I've watched 3 and 4 maybe a few times. I've seen the ABPs, but like Romulus, I think we saw it in theaters with Josh. And
and it was mostly enjoyable until they decide to like action movie it.
Yeah. I watched it once when it was back, but I'm not like deep on the lore diving. What would have David Fincher's cut have been like if the studio didn't interfere with 3 and stuff like that. So I watch this more passive. Like what are they bringing here? Because Noah Haley, how do you pronounce his name?
Holly,
I think. Yeah.
I think he's fantastic showrunner writer. I knew him from Bones.
Legion.
Legion. He's done the 4 or 5 seasons of Fargo.
Sounds basically, right. Yeah, I think 5.
Just writing them all by himself. And FX has said, "Oh yeah, what we hope is that we can start alternating 1 year Fargo, 1 year Alien, 1 year Fargo." Kind of. And so I was really hyped in seeing this. And at first, I was really enjoying it because it starts off kind of compelling. The story of this terminal ill, 9-year-old girl being transferred into the body. The boy Cavalier he's like 28. He's the youngest trillionaire on Earth. He's started the 5th corporation, and they show the breakdown of how the Earth is split up into the 5 different corporations, who owns what territories, and it does a very hammer it in that he is Peter, and these are his lost children. He needs somebody as smart as him, as intellectual as him, to stimulate him so he can, as he tells somebody at one point, so I can have an honest fucking conversation without being bored. And he has
just like Master Suit and his chief. Just like Master Chief and his suit. Jacks him off. Simulates it.
So the kid Cavalier, boy Cavalier, I really liked that dynamic where he's just striving and yearning for this like thoughtful provocation and conversation with someone on his wavelength. And he's always moving the goalpost on his intelligence as well. Cause like he has an android played by Timothy Oliphant, who is very intelligent, very well-spoken.
MVP of the season, man.
Yeah. He's like the most compelling character in the entire show. And someone he's talking to is like, "Oh, you can talk to Timothy Oliphant." And he's just like, "No, he's an android. He's a robot. Like, why would I talk to him?" And then it's like, "Oh, well, this guy is intelligent." Like one of their lead scientists who's helped develop the hybrid program. And he's like, "No, he's book smart. Why would I do anything to talk with him? He's not smart like me." And he's just moving the goalposts and trying to explain his intelligence level compared to others. And it's really compelling.
It is. And at one point the reason why Timothy Oliphant is compelling is because you see that Timothy Oliphant, as a synthetic, is taking orders, but he interprets those orders to his advantage. So when they collect the xenomorphs and the other aliens, and they move them to the compound, he manipulates it so that Boy Cavalier leaves him alone, because the xenomorphs start reacting to carbon dioxide. So he's like, "You can't be down here. Only the synthetics and hybrids can." And so that gets him out of the area so that he can focus on the research. And it's only later on that he allows Boy Cavalier back into there when something emerges that he needs him there. Which, as you said, Josh, moving the goalposts, there was a great scene, I think was maybe episode 6 or 7, where he realizes the eye is very intelligent because it's taking over a goat. And he starts communicating with it. And he's so frustrated because he's like, "Well, why can't it just speak English? Because it's in a goat body, And then it tries to speak with the goat body. And he's like fascinated of like, maybe I finally have something I can talk to. That's a cool scene. I agree with you. The first 5 episodes are great. It's exploring the corporations. It's exploring what these children developing their consciousness within these bodies. It's exploring the aliens, because they actually introduce different ones, not just the xenomorph, but they introduce like the eye. And then there's like this weird caterpillar one that moves through water and some other gross stuff. And then it gets to episode 5, which is how that ship crash landed, which is basically recreation of Alien. But you're seeing like an hour compression of like how they got loose, why they got loose, how, and the manipulations going on behind the scenes. And that was a really cool episode because it is like kind of like it's going to be fate. If you screw with the xenomorph is always eventually going to escape. The 3 episodes start with idiot devices, and I hate that. So one of them is that one of the kids who's in the adult body, Nibs, I think.
They're all named after Lost Boys. It's not entirely important. I think one is it the dead one. He renamed himself Isaac, if I remember.
Yeah. No, it's the slightly the one who no, not slightly. Slightly is the one who talks to Monroe all the time. Maybe. Anyways, she goes through this horrific thing, starts thinking that she's pregnant and been invested with this creature, and they put her under and reboot her memory to erase the last like 5 days. Literally, the very next scene is Wendy walks up to her and starts talking to her about the last 5 days and undoes it. Why would they not go to the other kids and be like, hey guys, listen, she wasn't doing well. We've had to suppress some stuff. Please don't bring anything up. No, it's literally, we have to do this. And it's we don't know how she's going to react once we get her out of this and wipe her memory. I mean, and he's like, listen, she's a machine. Just wipe her. She's not a person yet. She's a machine. And then they completely undo it. And it's like, why are you doing idiot plots now? The last episode just drove me bonkers because, as Josh said, instead of trying some kind of allegory, a statement about the world, it just kind of does a kids rule thing where the synthetics defeat everybody, capture them. And literally the xenomorph is the pet of Wendy, because something about her frequency hearing allows her to decipher its language, and she can coo to it. And when she coos, she gives it orders. And now it's her attack dog. I don't think I like the idea of a xenomorph literally being able to be chirped at and as a pet.
Essentially, it's just a really well-trained military dog at that point. They undo a lot of the mystique of the xenomorph with that. I also wanted to say, you triggered something for me. I got extraordinarily bored in the last 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Because there's so much padding and just lingering shots of things, because they don't have enough to pad out like 1 hour episodes to get through this. They could have probably done an 7 episode season where you do the first 4 or 5 episodes as they are, and then you have like a 2 episode finale, and you just get rid of all those long lingering shots where they're just trying to build tension. I just got so bored, and I started fast forwarding, waiting for shit to happen, because there's 30, 40, 50-second sequences where it's literally just someone walking slowly or staring at something, waiting for something to happen. And they're just going beyond that threshold of how long will people wait to have something happen. And I just got bored, and I was like, I need to get through this show, and I'm not willing to wait this like 10 sequences of like 50 seconds to do this.
It's only 8 episodes, but those last 3 after that one are really painful. Like I think that they do some amazing iconic moments, iconography, whatever that word is, with the xenomorph. Iconography, thank you. With the xenomorph, like they show, I mean, they kind of recreate the thing where like as the xenomorph attacks somebody, and then they captured it so that it could grow. No, wait, they grow it from a lung. Yeah.
That was really cool. Like that was one of the last really good things. So like one thing we should mention is like the first 3 episodes
amazing
are like their rescue episodes. Wendy, the first hybrid, she's able to like manipulate the operating system for Prodigy, and she's able to keep tabs on her brother, and she finds out that he's in the ship that crash landed in their territory, and she's like, I got to go rescue him. So she like convinces everyone that the hybrids are ready to go do this mission. And they go through this whole 3 episode arc of rescuing as many people as they can, trying to find the brother. And that's where the one girl like has all this trauma where she thinks she's impregnated by something, or she's a miraculous pregnancy. all these other things. So like those first 3 episodes are really great, and it ends with Wendy's brother getting his plot armor is pretty great because the xenomorph has been killing indiscriminately up until this point, and then randomly it decides, I'm just going to pierce this guy's lung, lift him up, and get captured instead of like just killing him outright. I'm going to play with him for a bit. So like that's one thing where I was like, you're playing with my disbelief here, because why is it just all of a sudden being like, I'm going to play with you? But because he has that punctured lung, Prodigy gives him a replacement with a synthetic lung, and they keep his, repair it, and then they like dissect a face hugger and get the xenomorph embryo out of the face hugger and implant it into the lung, and they grow their own test tube xenomorph, which is really
pretty
cool.
Awesome. And some of those, the way they show it is just great, because like they show that it likes to nest and like dangle from ceilings, and you get this great one where they're panning all the creatures that they have secured from the Weyland-Yutani ship, and it passes by that one, and you think like the original, like Alien and Aliens, that it's just a piece of piping, and then it lowers itself down, and you actually can see more of the growth stage from it being small to like teenage size to adult size. You do get some amazing moments where you can see it like in really good light. This is a puppet that they've been working on with, man in a puppet suit kind of thing. As it interacts with Wendy, as she learns to like talk with and stuff. That stuff I think is really cool. It's just those last few episodes where the kids start acting dumber and the humans start acting dumber and falling into obvious traps. And then the weird ending with like Yutani deciding they're going to assault Prodigy's Lost Boy Island to get their equipment back. And what do they do is like, they just like, after sending dozens of troopers who have been killed over the last few episodes, they send more. Are you playing us off, Matt?
I think his laptop fan has kicked in.
Oh,
possibly. Yeah.
I was like, he's playing us off. I get it. Okay. Sorry. Watch the first 5 episodes. This is good.
I'm still like, my soul and my body
his feelings are still hurt.
Are somewhat separated. I wouldn't call it. Yeah, we don't have to relitigate it. My feelings weren't hurt. I was more shell shocked.
I was like, I'm sorry, Matt. I was playing with you.
I would say Alien Earth is a pass, though. Like those first 5 episodes, I think are really good. But it does suffer from, we need to leave wiggle room for a second season. Itis, whatever you want to call it, sequelitis, I guess, to throw a phrase out there, where they have to leave room open for potential seasons down the road instead of just telling a complete story here. Again, I think because it's set in like an alternate alien timeline, they have plenty of wiggle room anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like I probably wasn't gonna put this at the top of my list, but then you guys talked about how it was basically Halo, so I'm like, sign me up.
Hey, if you want to watch it for that, there's some great commentary. Like Wendy's brother, after getting the surgery once, he's like, hey, listen, if this is my sister, can I take her home? And they're like, no. And he's like, okay, well then I guess I'll leave. And they're like, well, if you leave this island, we did do surgery on you. And they start going through the list of everything they did for him. And they're like, so if you want to pay us back $20 billion in medical expenses. And it's like, oh, you capitalist, horrible system. How dare you?
So I think we'll call it there. We've got some other things we can hold on to for future What You Doings. I think we have one coming up either at the end of December or January already anyway. But other than that, let's get out of here. Alex, do you want to pitch the Discord, or do you want to let Matt do that one?
Matt, pitch our Discord.
Well, if you like what we've done here and you want to experience it in text form, in chat room form, not quite like this one. It doesn't usually take some of the turns this one took. Join us on Discord. I'm there, Alex is there, Josh is there. If you say anything in that Discord, odds are I will be looking at it when you send it. So if that is for some reason a plus, come on in. We'd love to have you.
The link is in our episode description. You
yes,
can go ahead.
I always forget that. You pitch me. You let me pitch every time, and I always forget that part. So why do you let me do it?
It's fine. I have it in my script anyway, so it's not a big deal. You can join the Discord by clicking the link in the episode description. You can follow us on all the social media platforms: Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, YouTube. We are at Talking Smack Pod. You can email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Leo Allen for our musical themes, Beppo for our original avatars, Retro Ale Studios for our Ricky avatar. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Please like, subscribe, rate, and review on your podcatcher of choice. Matt, Alex, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for making the time to work. I know this was not the easiest schedule to make, but you both have made sacrifices to be here, and I appreciate it. Dear listener, thank you for being here and listening and taking the time to listen to us rant. Matt, there are things that people should be watching. What is that thing that people should be watching that is paramount amongst other things?
Don't listen to him, Mario. He didn't mean it. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Sorry, Josh, did you say something to me?
What should people be watching?
Oh, watch Star Trek or whatever.
Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.
Pikachu, listen, okay? Just don't worry about it. Don't tell Miyamoto about this, okay? Do not tell Mr. Miyamoto about this.